Hey everybody, welcome to Wednesday with me, Joe Apel, aka Option Joe. Um, Sorry I had to change the schedule today. Uh, I have a meeting, something I have to be at 10 o'clock, so I thought I'd at least do it today for an hour, maybe a little shorter before I have to go to the Zoom call meeting. But I think what I'm going to do today is do a little bit of a storybook that I'm working on. I'm going to look at reference for it, it involves ogres, and so I'm going to look at reference for just some characters on YouTube. I pulled up a thing for the New Masters Academy on YouTube. The It's a figure drawing, costume figure drawing, and there's a character Rajiv that I'm going to look at. So I'm going to start with short poses, and I'm going to do like a real cartoon character, even though the reference is clearly a real person. I'm going to try and use his poses as the reference of what I believe the character could look like. Right now he's just in profile, so I might just do for this kind of for the really short poses, now 30 seconds. I just started, even though he's already been in the pose for a minute. I might still just try and get it close to real anatomy, and then as I work further into longer poses or get more comfortable with his with the figure, I might go a little more into the actual what a cartoon version of this would look like. So yeah, right now it's just a stick figure, just looking for the line of action. Again, this is 30 seconds. Let's see, he's trying to get into pose right now. Looks like kind of an action pose. Very animalistic. He's on all fours. And yeah, I'm just I'm working with, if you're new to watch me draw, I'm working with China marker on a smooth newsprint pad. I prefer smooth newsprint with China marker because it comes up pretty nicely and there's no grit to it. I also feel China marker is a lot less messy than charcoal. Charcoal can be just all over the place. But the problem with China marker is that it's very blunt. As you can see, the tip is very blunt, so you're not going to get very nuanced, little details and stuff. Looks like his head lowered a bit. And 1 minute can go by really fast. Let's see, hopefully you can see everything I'm doing. I think this might be my last week of doing it on Instagram. Next week I'm going to really try and do it on YouTube Live. I started a YouTube channel yesterday, just put up the Instagram stuff that I started already, and so you can see three weeks of my Wednesdays on the YouTube channel. YouTube channel is @OptionJoeArt. And when I do the YouTube channel, I'm hoping that I can figure out a way better, like a better setup, so that you can actually see the reference I'm drawing as I'm drawing it. Right now, obviously, you're just looking at what I'm drawing on the pad, but I want to have it set up so you can actually see what the reference is that I'm looking at. Alright, this is a standing pose. I had a kind of a late start today. I had to drop off my daughter at school, and then I had to set up everything to draw like really quickly. So I wasn't as prepared as I wanted to be today, but I had some ideas of what I wanted to do. So alright, I'm gonna try something real quick. You hear that ding, it's when he's like, the pose is finally locked in and the timer starts. I didn't give myself enough room for to do the pose. His arm was extended out this way, so it'd actually be like more over here. So this is my only 4th week doing this. I'm so excited that I'm actually pushing myself to draw, and even if no one joins me, it's like getting me out of my comfort zone just to put it out there that I'm drawing. I'm gonna change it. One of the most important things to do whenever you're drawing a figure is, even if you're drawing it loose, make sure you have them locked to the ground, or locked to a plane. If it helps drawing like a little swatch of like a carpet or rug, but always like get the feet locked into place. Even if it's not completely accurate, you still just want to know, like, so they're not floating, because you can tend to like make a character look like it's floating if you don't put them in the lock position. We're still on 1 minute poses. We'll see. I'm just kind of going with what they're doing. I find this model very interesting, like because he's got very baggy pants, so like the crotch hangs pretty low. And he's wearing like a what do you call it? Some kind of robe that he keeps like taking off and on, but he's using it sometimes like it's a snake or some kind of shackles or something. I'm gonna really push this pose because he's arched his back a lot. In some ways, seeing a timer on this one, you can actually see the timer helps because you know how much like time you have. Sometimes I prefer not to see the timer because like you don't feel as much pressure, but knowing that the timer's there and you know how much time you have gives you a sense of like, okay, I gotta get this done quickly because he's going to change that pose very soon, and he's about to change it right now. With any costume figure drawing you do, I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, don't get too lost in the details of all the costume, the wrinkles and everything. It's very easy to just like kind of not look at like where the actual anatomy is and just kind of like, oh, this is where this is happening. This wrinkle, this, you know, where the curve of this pan, where this, you want to make sure you get the figure in first. And then you can draw those details of the costume above it afterwards. And in general, like if something's blocking it, like this, his robe right here is blocking like his leg, you kind of have to know a little bit of anatomy before you know what his foot is really doing there. Sometimes it even just helps to see how he got into the pose to where his foot may be. Like this foot back here is arched up. That's actually the shadow right here. And then this foot would probably be more flat, like right here, the way he's posed. As you can see, these are really loose. I'm trying not to be too worried about overlapping drawings because it's just like, this is just to loosen up and get me in the mindset of like, okay, I need to like, this is exercise, this is your warm-up. This one, his shoulders are kind of back and his hands are up. So, you gotta push. even though his shoulders look like they're flat, you gotta just kind of give a sense of like they're going backwards a little bit. Because the way the costume, again, it's like the costume's like giving us a sense of like it's just straight across, but really it's not. The costume's like creating that flat line there. Alright, I think we're going to 2-minute poses now. He's got a staff. So again, if you're curious what this is, New Masters Academy, YouTube, and this is Rajiv, R-A-G-A-I-V. Yeah, these are 2-minute poses now. So now I think I might do character stuff. Like I got a little extra time. So I might make a character of this. And again, I wanted to do like an ogre. So I might do more of the pose. Like this. And ogres have giant feet. So I might do like something like that. See what happened there? I got lost in the details and I'm almost done and I forgot to do this other hand. Not great, but the idea is there. Let's try. Another reason to use newsprint too is it's an inexpensive paper. You can get it in big pads, and it's inexpensive for the most part, so you're not too concerned about how much money you're spending on, because you're just going to go through this pretty quickly and rough. You can always scan pictures later and stuff, but looks like he's got a sword or a staff that he's going to pull out. You know, I might pause the video here so you can actually see what I'm drawing. I feel like that it helps to know what the model looks like. So that's the model right there, and this is what I'm drawing. So just to give you a sense of what my reference is, I feel like I should have, that's why it's nice to have a side-by-side, but maybe next week I'll get that figured out. let's see, 25 minutes in. I only want my sessions to be about an hour, because I know how boring it can be for some people with this job. So I might go into like the longer poses in a little bit. Like maybe if there are 5-minute poses on here, I might do that. Just because I want to get something a little more fleshed out. I feel pretty warmed up, but I kind of want to just do a little bit more. Maybe the last 15 minutes I'll focus on the longer poses. So I might only be able to do 2 or 3. They're 5-minute poses. Now I'm just kind of making up what I think an ogre looks like. Because obviously the model does not look like this. A little bit of Shrek, a little bit of just work or something from Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, ogres, or is that a troll? I'm trying to remember what was in the bathroom in the first movie or book. Let's see. Almost looks like he's rowing a boat here. I'm rowing my boat. It's already into the next pose. Get more curly hairs on his chest. Maybe curly hairs on his shoulders. This is like a relaxed pose. Kind of reminds. I'm just going to turn the camera over to it real quick so you can see. But it reminds me of. I don't know if you've ever seen the Burt Reynolds pose. Classic, or George Costanza. Lost a little time when I turned the camera, so I'm just rewind it a little bit. So this looks nothing like the character I want to do for my. It's a storybook for children. But I think like I might use that as like a process of like, okay, this is how I'm going to loosen up, and like get me in the mindset of it at least. So when I am working on it, I've already have like in my head like, oh yeah, I was working on a troll or ogre earlier. What I do with that pose, and you know, maybe it's not exactly. I probably want to be more stylized. It is a children's book, like a picture book, and it's my own idea. Something that I've been wanting to work on for a while. This pose like is very congested in the area. Like his leg is way back here. His torso actually goes back this way. I'm not even sure where his other leg goes. I think it's actually kneeling like this. So maybe his foot's back here. But what he's doing is presenting like his staff to somebody. So the staff is like right there. He's looking up. So the character I'm drawing almost doesn't work with this, because it's like, I don't think his body, like the gut and everything would be able to contort this way. The model's much more fit, but still gonna try it. Didn't have enough time anyway. Sorry, moved on to the next pose. Your Majesty. I'll present to you my staff. That's the thing about doing with the costume characters, models, is that, especially if they already have like a costume set, and the model is a certain physique or a certain mentality, even, they might, it's harder to like push it into like a realm that you want the character you're thinking of doing. Because like, oh, I think my ogre idea was like much more comedic, and obviously this is much more serious. But I wanted to find something at least of like in a costume that could represent an ogre. what do we got here? 9:35. Okay, so I'm gonna do maybe two more the 2-minute poses, and then I'm gonna forward through and see if I can find anything like this a 5-minute pose, or if it's oh nope, he's going to 5-minute here anyway. So never mind. We're just gonna go right into 5-minute poses. All right, good. Now his body is twisting. His head is looking this way, but his body is pointing this way. So like his legs are going. So we gotta like figure out how we're gonna do that, where it's like, okay, the S curve will go this way. And because it's a longer pose, you have a little bit of time to like figure it out. So it's a good idea like to like really look at what he's doing. So like his shoulder pulls back this way. He's holding a staff again, but the staff is like going down like that, almost like a sword. And this leg is kind of hidden. It almost looks like it's going back this way. So I might want to just draw like where I think that foot's going to go, where that leg and foot. And then chest is twisted a little bit, so it's like he's going this way, and then like the nipples are going kind of facing us, but then his belly is starting to go this way, and then so the rest of his torso is faced this way. So this foot is actually going that way. Oops. I was backing up to take a better look and I forgot my camera's right behind me. So that's pretty much the idea. Now I might exaggerate him a little bit more because he's very long-legged, but I want to have him like be more ogre-like, so we're going to make him more short-legged. Maybe even wearing shorts. Exaggerate his face a little bit too. Thicken up his arms. See now, like, even though it's a longer pose, now like 2 minutes left already. So I was planning it out a little bit longer. So, just like that. Now I'm making his arms a lot thicker because I think he's an ogre. I need to make him thicker. He's got a gut. when you get to the longer poses for any model, you can kind of see it, start seeing their face of like how they're trying to keep their body still and in control. Because it is a lot of, if you ever try and like stand still for like even a minute, your muscles start to like tense up. So I give any model a lot of credit, especially if they're doing like a pose where they're outstretched more or anything, that you know it's hard for them just to stay in that mindset. Alright, so this pose is more like this. It's more of a, like the S-curve's there, but this pose, and then his shoulders are kind of more like this. His head's down here. This arm's outstretched this way, and then this one's kind of hidden back here, like the shoulder. So what I'm going to do is, again, exaggerate him a little bit more. Really push that gut out. I feel like this leg is going back this way. Right now, I'm going to pause it again, the video, so you can see the model. I might not pause it actually. I might play it just so you can see, but I'll rewind it a little bit. So you can see like his back leg is going where the robe is. I'm kind of figuring it out. Okay, well, how is he twisting that way? So I'm going to turn it back to my drawing. And make sure, right now I have the armpit up here, but it's like the forearm is actually going in front of the armpit. Now, since I have more time, I'm like putting a little more time into the fingers and hands, and feet as well. Not a lot more time, because there's not that much time, because I'm still like working on going all over the pose, but I want to make sure that I'm getting more of like the definition of where everything is. Maybe even adding a little more details of like, oh, he's an ogre, so he's going to have like bad fingernails. He's not well kept. Maybe more hair. Maybe he's got some spots on his face. He's a tired ogre. Got about a minute left here with this pose. It's not great, but you know, it's a reference point if you're using it as reference. Almost like he's playing pool. He's trying to make a shot. Curious how much this is still going to be 5 minutes. It's a 10-minute pose. Those are probably the last pose of the day. So what I'm going to note here is that you'll see in his posture that his shoulders are going at that angle while his pelvis is going that way. And then we're going to extend that leg this way. The reason why the pelvis is going that way is like the back leg. It's actually, that's why I'm saying the back leg. It's actually behind a little bit. So it's pushing that pose in the back. And you want to have a little bit of, so we're doing this and this. And when I look at the S curve for it, like I'm going to look at it as an S curve, I feel like the S would go back to the back leg, and then because all the weight's going to be on this leg, and then this leg's just kind of pushed forward. I tend to like shorter poses more, just because I get my idea out quickly and I'm in and out. While when I do the longer poses, it's like I almost feel like I'm too focused on a lot of things, like because you have more time, so you're like, oh, I'll look at those details more, and then I'll get spend too much time in one area versus like trying to spread my time all around. That's usually what I do when I'm doing the shorter poses, where I'm like kind of just going all over the place. Well, this is when you self-correct too, because like, oh, the leg I put way too far forward. It should be closer to the back leg. And like, you know, he's holding a staff here, but being that what his character is, like maybe it's not a staff, maybe it's like a club, or a dead animal or something he's going to bring home for dinner. So that's where you can kind of play up, like, oh, what I want to, who is this character that I'm making? Like, yeah, the model's doing this, but it doesn't mean my character has to do that exactly. Like, the model's very serious. Maybe I want him to be smiling. Maybe he's like excited that he's in this pose. Honestly, I feel like I'm drawing a little of me in this guy. Maybe I think of myself as this position, this weight. Got about 5 minutes left. In the future, I'm going to try and make these more consistent at 10 o'clock. Today had to change, but I think also one thing I want to do, like I said earlier, is that these are going to be on YouTube now. At least I'm going to try and get them on YouTube. I already uploaded the previous weeks on YouTube, so if you're new to watching this video on Instagram and want to see some, like, you know, actually pause through and stuff, they're on YouTube now. I'm going to try and maybe do a few different things on the YouTube channel too. There'll be a Winsday, there'll be a Winsday channel, and then I might do some additional things too. So there'll be the Winsday videos, and then other, like, you know, projects I might want to work on, or I don't know if it'll be instructional or just me drawing, or we'll see. I'm gonna kind of figuring this all out as I go. So you can see, like, I'm trying to get more smaller details, but with this blunt China marker, it's not happening. Maybe he wears red pants. I have 3 colors of China markers: white, black, and red. So that's why I'm using a lot of red. My past videos, but it would kind of work for the squid and the octopus, but I might try and find different kinds of China marker to work with, different colors. Got about a minute and a half left. Thanks for checking out my videos. Follow me on Instagram. Hopefully you follow me on YouTube as well. Again, it's Option Joe Art on YouTube. And I'll be posting these and other videos of drawings. And again, if you have like suggestions for me, something to draw, or have any questions about me or my career, feel free to contact me on Instagram. I'm generally pretty good at getting back to people that message me. This isn't great, but you know, I'm happy with the result is. The time I had, like with no definitive plan. Alright, well that's time. Hope you enjoyed drawing with me today, and we'll see you next week. Take care.